It was her birthday yesterday. She's so shy. And Amarachi did something so nice and actually told me not to tell. But you know, my mouth is big. Come back here. Come back here. She's angry with me. The little money Amarachi had, she gave to someone who was in need. I feel so proud of her. Yeah, come and hug me. Don't go anywhere. They, eh? Okay, I am not telling. Don't worry, I won't tell. That's not telling. That's just gisting what you did. Telling is different. Oh yeah, just come now. Oh, you're gonna finish eating and come. Oh yeah, hurry. We're waiting for you. It was her birthday yesterday, and you know the kind of person Amarachi is. She so happily and so willingly gave out of the little she doesn't have just to make somebody happy. So today I'm talking about. I'm sure you all are aware of the. Is that Paul Okoye I see? Uncle Paul, how are you doing? So today I'm talking about Timi Dakolo's post. And I know a lot of people would say Daddy Freeze, what's going on? We know you and Timmy are not friends. I'm actually not following Timi Dakolo on Instagram, and he's also not following me back. We've had our spats in the past. But you see, the message of truth is bigger than me. If I saw Timmy saying the truth and I refuse to acknowledge that he's saying the truth because of my ego, then I'm not ready to teach the word of God. If Timmy is speaking the truth, but because of my ego, I am refusing to acknowledge that he's speaking the truth, simply because he has said something about me in the past. I also said a few things about him in the past. If that is now the bane of, I don't even know how to, if that's now the foundation of my ignoring the truth that he's speaking out, then I hold myself to blame. The truth is the truth. Even a demon possessed girl could speak the truth, let alone a normal guy. We might not agree on doctrinal matters, and I'm sure we still have a lot of differences. But on this, I think what he is raising needs to be addressed. It is bad enough. It is actually bad enough when a girl goes to an office to try to get a job and then she gets molested. It is bad enough when a girl's molested in school or a girl goes out hanging out with her friends to a nightclub and then gets a little tipsy and then comes on their way home. A guy takes advantage of her. It's bad enough. It's bad enough when people you trust take advantage of you. It's bad enough when people you trust take advantage of you. It's bad enough when your siblings or uncles molest a girl. But I think it is 10 times worse when someone you entrust your salvation, someone into whose hands you entrust your salvation, now molests you. It's a curse. There are many women who are broken today Many women who are broken today because they were molested by pastors. I know one particular lady who used to be a good friend of mine. I noticed she was not okay. I noticed she was not fine. I'm not going to mention her name because that's not the essence of what I'm here to do today. And one day she told me her story, and I realized that, you see, it's one thing to be broken, it's another thing to be damaged, and it's another thing to be scarred. And I'm going to speak on the three words. Hey, you put that down and go and play with Abiba. Okay? Tell her you love her and be a nice brother to her. Or you want to say hi to everybody first? Or yeah, quickly come and say hi so he will let us rest. Quickly come and say hi. All right.
Hi.
Hi. They're not seeing you here. Say hi.
Hi.
All right. Now you can go, eh? We love you. Oh yeah, go and be a good boy. You see, broken is when the headlight of a car gets broken and then it gets fixed by you replacing it with another headlight. Damaged is when the chassis of a car gets destroyed. And scarred is you having to live with that damage, with the long effects of that damage. I don't know if I'm making sense to you. I was talking to a comedian who was my friend, who used to be my friend, and he bought a car, and we just noticed that anytime he presses the brake, this car was looking brand new. It was like 5,000 kilometers. He pressed the brake, the car will swerve to one side. We changed brake pad, we changed disc, we changed caliper, we changed suspension, until one mechanic went under the car and showed that the car was actually an accident damage repair car that had had its chassis messed with. So no matter how nice it looks, no matter how nice you paint it, no matter if it has just 3,000 miles on the odometer, the fact that it is damaged and scarred, there's a scar where they tried to weld the broken chassis, left a scar. And we are now suffering the aftermath of that scar. Somebody said this is a jailable offense in the US. If you buy a wrecked car, you declare it wrecked. So damage, breaking someone is bad enough. Damaging them is even worse. But when they're scarred for life. Many women have been scarred by pastors. Right now, I'm not talking about Oloshos who are trying to scam the pastors who scam them. I'm not mentioning if that is you, please go and sit down. I'm talking about genuine women, like the women who trust me. I have so many women around me in the Free Nation who trust me. People who reach out to me to talk to me, and then they come to see me in my house, and then I make it in such a way that nobody's around when they come, and I start to touch them. Out of the respect they have, they probably will not push me off. They'll be wondering, what is he doing? But if I do that, the effects of that are everlasting. Especially when they're allowing it to happen because they feel that I'm to be trusted. I got to that privileged position not because I took them out and bought them dinner, not because I told them I was going to marry them, not because I said, okay, you know what, let's do this for a fee. I got there because they trusted me and I betrayed that trust. That will leave a scar. I know women who loved God but now hate God. As one who lives in my estate, a good friend of mine, we used to go to the same church. She used to sing. I don't remember the last time she went to church. I don't remember. I don't remember. And at the end of the day, the woman gets blamed. You wore short skirt. Why did you go to his house alone? Don't you know that the devil tempts pastors? Hello? Why did you go and meet him in his hotel room? David, a man after God's heart, was tempted by a woman. Do you expect our pastors to be better? You see, that's the problem of when you base your doctrines on David, who is a man you are greater than. Is the gospel God himself told me to come and teach you. You are greater than David. You are greater than Zechariah. You are greater than Isaiah, Elijah, and Ezekiel. Why? Because you are a man of God under a new covenant with God, where you don't need a visa to get to God anymore because God signed the papers with the blood. Look at someone beside you this afternoon or evening or whatever you want to call the time frame and tell them God signed the waiver with blood. You are a man. I want you to say it. I am a man of God. There's no other man of God that is greater than you. Everyone's a priest. First Peter chapter 2 and 5. We have one chief priest and one chief priest only. Yes, we have pastors. Yes, we have teachers. Yes, we have deacons. Yes, we have prophets. But we are all men of God under the new covenant. We all have equal access to him once we show the passport data page that carries God's signature in blood. No border control, no angels, no customs, no police, no man of uniform, no intellectual, no preacher can stop you from getting to God unless you didn't know you're right in the first place. So women, please, no one's so powerful that they can touch you inappropriately. Before I go any further, I'd like us to start with a prayer because I want to go into the scriptures now. Heavenly Father, I call for healing upon your children. They were broken by the wolves. They were broken by the teachers, abused, damaged, and scarred. Only you can heal scar tissue. Heal them, O Lord, in Yahushua's name. Every woman who was molested by a pastor, under any context, I beg for your healing right now. This is not a prayer session, but if it has to be so we can get this healing, I call upon the Lord. I call upon his blood. I call upon his grace and his wisdom and his healing power upon every woman listening to the sound of my voice. Every woman in this congregation and anywhere else that has been damaged by a man who was supposed to be representing God. I call for your healing right now. In the name greater than any name, in the name greater than all names, Yahushua. You healed the blind. You raised the dead, cured leprosy. The man with the withered hand you made whole. Any withered soul listening to me speak today, any withered soul watching me, wherever it is, withered because of abuse, withered because of a sexual damage from someone who's supposed to be a pastor. Father, make that withered soul whole. In Yahushua's name, I pray. And the good people in the house said, Amen. It's very touching because a lot of people are coming for Timi right now. I don't know what the source of his pain is. I don't know if it was a family member or a friend or someone close to him who was abused. But I know it affected him badly. And for me to come out and say this, especially for someone who we all know we're not friends, I know it is painful. We're not going to leave him in his pain. Look at someone beside you, wherever you are, and say, we're not going to leave him in his pain. As I'm speaking now, there's some people typing, trying to fight on my page. I'm not going to have your time today. Go with me to the book of Malachi, chapter 1. I want to explain the curse of the false priest upon you. Go with me to the book of Malachi, chapter 1. Yes, this is the old covenant. I want to establish it so you understand and bring you into our covenant. Please tell your mom to lower that volume a bit. If you read from 6, Malachi 1 6, I actually want you to spend some time today and read the entire Malachi 1. There's no way I can really pull out that's significant enough, but I want you to read the entire Malachi. If you can, I'll be grateful. The Lord of heaven's armies says to the priests, a son honors his father and a servant respects his master. If I am your father and master, where is the honor and respect I deserve? You have shown contempt for my name. How? By defiling sacrifices, by doing all sorts of wickedness. And there was a curse that was put on them. Just read the entire Malachi chapter 1. Go with me to the book of Luke chapter 6 and 46. So why do you keep calling me Lord, Lord, when you don't do what I say? Luke 6:46. Why do you keep calling me Lord when you don't do what I say? I will show you what it's like when someone comes to me, listens to my teachings, and then follows it. It's like a person building a house who digs deep and lays foundation on solid rock. When the flood waters rise and breaks against the house, it stands firm because it was well built. But anyone who hears and doesn't obey is like a person who builds a house right on the ground without a foundation. You call him Lord. You dance in front of him. You collect money on his behalf. And then you do the exact opposite of what he's telling you to do. We're going to study some scriptures today before I finally land where I'm going. Go with me to the book of Matthew, chapter 7 and 21. Not everyone who calls out to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven. Only those who actually do the will of my Father in heaven will enter. The will of my Father. What did his Father have to say about the priests? We all read Malachi chapter 1, but we're going to read more. We're going to read more today. Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to go to the book of Samuel. You there with me, Amarachi? Let me know. 1 Samuel 2 and 22. If you're there, let me know, Amarachi. Let me know once you're there. 1 Samuel 2 and 22. Are you there? Because I need you to follow me with it, and I want you guys to all follow me with this. I'm going to try to read from about 20. You know what? I'm reading from 22. It carries the message. You know what? Let me read from 12. There's something I want to pick up from 12, then come back. Now the sons of Eli were scoundrels who had no respect for the Lord or for their duties as priests. Whenever anyone offered a sacrifice, Eli's sons would send over a servant with a three-pronged fork. While the meat of the sacrificed animal was still boiling, the servant will stick the fork into the pot and demand that whatever it brought up be given to Eli's sons. All the Israelites who came to worship at Shiloh were treated this way. Sometimes the servants would come even before the animal's fat had been burned on the altar. He will demand raw meat before it had been boiled so that it could be used for roasting. But Samuel, though he was a little boy, served the Lord. He wore a linen garment like that of a priest. Each year, his mother made a small coat for him and brought it to him when she came with her husband for the sacrifice. Now, if you jump with me to 22. Now, Eli was very old, but he was aware. Amarachi, I wanted you to open this because I want you to see the word aware. Can you guys see aware? You can see it, Amarachi. He was aware of what his sons were doing to the people of Israel. He knew, for instance, that his sons were seducing the young women who assisted at the entrance of the tabernacle. He knew if your pastor is sleeping with a woman who is supposed to be in the choir, who's supposed to be attending anything, and you know there's a curse upon you, especially if you are submitting yourself to this old law. curse on Eli was not because he slept, it was because he knew. All of you who know and shut up are getting and heaping a curse upon yourselves. And I'm going to take this to the new covenant and explain it to you. When a man commits a sexual offense in the church, he should be handed over to the devil. That's the new covenant. And I'm getting there because I'm pissed off today. And if you go with me to 25, because I'm rushing off to round off. If someone sins against another person, God can mediate for the guilty party. But if someone sins against the Lord, who can intercede? But Eli's sons wouldn't listen to their father, for the Lord was already planning to put them. Read the remaining to yourself. I'm angry because we're keeping quiet. 1 Samuel chapter 3 and 13. For I told him, this is the Lord speaking, that I will judge his family forever because of the sin he knew about. His sons blasphemed God, and he did nothing to restrain them. All of you doing nothing to restrain the so-called sons of God who are blaspheming his name by harassing the poor maidens in the court of God's house, wherever it is, under a tree, in a room, wherever the people of God gather is God's house. Right now we're online in God's online house. Whoever these men are, God is going to judge you for not saying anything. Now go with me to the book of 1 Corinthians 5 and 12. And I'm signing out with this new covenant verse. I'm signing out with this. 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and 12. If we do ourselves a quick favor and jump to the beginning, before we read 12, Paul condemns spiritual pride. And here's what Paul said. I can hardly believe the report about the sexual immorality going on among you. Something even the pagans don't do. I'm told a man in your church is living in sin with his stepmother. So you are proud of yourselves, but you should be mourning in sorrow and shame, and you should remove this man from your fellowship. Then if you go towards the end, it says, there's one verse I'm looking for. It's right here, yes. If you go to 5, 1 Corinthians 5 and 5, it says, then you must throw this man out and hand him over to Satan, so that his sinful nature will be destroyed and he himself will be saved on the day the Lord returns. You must throw him out, hand him over to Satan. And he goes on to 12. Read the entire 1 Corinthians 5, and now I'm reading 12. And he says, it isn't my responsibility to judge outsiders, but it certainly is your responsibility to judge those inside the church who are sinning. God will judge those on the outside. But as the scriptures say, you must remove the evil person from among you. Any pastor, any preacher, any teacher sleeping with women in his congregation must be handed over to Lucifer for the destruction of the flesh. I wish I was the one who's cooking this up, but it's not me. And those of you judging Timi, may the judgment of Eli, who saw, and you see, somebody told me, said, Daddy Freeze, You cannot, the people, God judged Eli. God did not judge the people. I said, that's where you are foolish, and that's where you don't understand the covenant. He said, God judged Eli, who was a priest, but the people didn't know anything. I said, yes. This is now one of the disadvantages of our covenant. Everybody's a priest. Everybody's an Eli. It's no longer one Eli. It's all Eli's. So every Eli who looks at another Eli and seeing the sin done in the name of God, because the scriptures say if a man sins against a man, he can ask a man for forgiveness. So you sin against God by watching a fellow priest defile his temple. Stand up and speak out. May the Lord bless you all.